The man who has been charged in October's truck attack that left 8 dead in Manhattan spoke out in federal court on Friday, stating his allegiance to Allah and defending what he called the mission of ISIS. Sayfullo Saipov, 30, asked through his lawyers to address federal district court judge Vernon S. Broderick. His request was granted, and he spoke through translators, the New York Times reported. Saipov told the court that any judgments made there were not important to him because they were not Allah's judgments. He also said that the Islamic State is fighting to impose Sharia on earth. This is in contrast to fighting for oil or land, he said. Throughout Saipov's statements, prosecutors interjected to ask the judge to remind Saipov of his right to remain silent and also to remind the judge that Saipov is under heightened security while he remains in custody, in particular to limit his ability to discuss terrorist propaganda. The judge reminded Saipov that anything he said in court could be used against him, to which Saipov replied, "I understand you, but I'm not worried about this at all." Saipov spoke for 10 minutes before saying he would have more comments to make in the future. The judge then also told Saipov that he would be required to speak through his attorneys in the future, but that he could take the stand during his trial to testify if he wanted to do so. Saipov was arrested after people on a bike path were run over by a vehicle on October 31 in a midday attack that authorities immediately labeled terrorism. Of the 8 people killed, 5 were friends from Argentina celebrating a reunion of sorts 30 years since their high school graduation. Their names are Hernan Diego Mendoza, Alejandro Damian Pagnucco, Ariel Erlich, Diego Enrique Angelini and Hernan Ferrucci. New Yorker Nicholas Cleves, 23, New Jersey resident Darren Drake, 32, and Belgian tourist Anne-Laure Deckett, 31, were also killed in the attack. 12 others were injured, making it the deadliest attack to date in New York City since the September 11 attacks in 2001. Authorities said Saipov also made statements almost immediately after his arrest about his allegiance to ISIS, which later took credit for the deadly attack and told investigators he felt good about the killings. Saipov was shot in the abdomen by a police officer after authorities said he crashed the truck into a school bus. His injury was minor enough that he was transferred to a prison facility in Manhattan 2 days later. Saipov told investigators he was inspired to carry out the attack after watching a video of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi questioning what Muslims in the United States and elsewhere were doing to respond to the killing of Muslims in Iraq, according to what authorities are quoted as saying in court papers. Evidence against him includes what was found on 2 of his cell phones, according to court documents. Investigators said one phone contained 90 videos and other Islamic State propaganda, including one of a beheading and another of a tank running over a prisoner. The other phone showed a search for truck rental outlets. The terror suspect came to the U.S. legally in 2010 from Uzbekistan, where officials say he had no history of trouble with the law. He first lived in Ohio, where he was a commercial truck driver, then in Florida. He most recently lived in New Jersey with his wife and children and worked as an Uber driver. Saipov's defense attorney has urged prosecutors to accept a guilty plea from the defendant, which would result in a life sentence, to provide closure for the victims of this attack. Share this article. Share. The prosecution asked the judge to set a trial date beginning in April, also arguing the victims deserved closure from a speedy trial. However, the state has until September to decide whether it will pursue the death penalty against Saipov, which will ultimately be determined by Attorney General Jeff Sessions. The defense said that, if the death penalty is sought, it will need additional time to prepare legal arguments. The trial date has been set for October 7, 2019.